Finisher.
If you're fishing in the extremes,
it's the Lord.
it's the Lord to use.
All right, guys, welcome back. Welcome back. Knockout day. Knockout day. Kind of crazy. Kind of loving it. MLF, heavy hitters, Smith Mountain Lake. Crazy couple days. Smith Mountain Lake can't beat it. Can't beat it. One of the top fisheries in the country. I think Jacob Wheeler nailed it on the head when he said it was a top 25 fishery in the country. I believe it. It's been that way. It's getting better and better every year. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see how this shakes out the next 2 days for heavy hitters, Bass Pro Tour, Smith Mountain Lake knockout round today. We were just starting period 2. I'll get you an update here real quick, but no surprise. I think the surprises happened already in the qualifying rounds. I think a lot of things went down that crazy as it was. A lot of people didn't expect, I think, the throwdown to happen with the spinnerbait that went down, at least on day 1, and then again on day 3 for Group A with Michael Neal. I think everyone anticipated, if you looked at a lot of the preview videos, if you checked it all out about Smith Mountain Lake, and because of what the climate is right now with forward-facing sonar, everybody just kind of like was assuming it was going to be a forward-facing sonar event. And that's just not how the lakes in Virginia set up all the time, especially when you've got the spawns going on. And you got, like, it depends. You get delayed bass spawns, and then you also have shad. You have gizzard shad, threadfin shad. You know, you've got herring. You've got all that going on. So it's always really, really interesting to see how that plays out. And it just so happened that timing, May, June, for the forage spawn lines up with heavy hitters. And then the winter time that we had, if you're following it, mid-Atlantic weather this last winter, it was one of the worst winters we've had in terms of snowfall and sleet and rain and all of that stuff in 5 years. So everything's kind of pushed back a little bit in the calendar, right? If you got to check out DC's video on that specifically about how, it's 60 degrees, so the bass are going to start spawning. It doesn't always happen that way. It does not always work that way. And so you had fish on the tail end, probably some that were still spawning post-spawn. The smallies had already spawned, down on the lower portion of the Smith Mountain Lake, near the dam and all that, all the rockiness, the points and all that stuff. Then you also had the shad spawn, gizzard shad, threadfin shad, all that shad stuff happening around docks and up in creeks and all that stuff. And it pulled people away from, what people thought it was going to be, that it was going to be bait balls and forward-facing sonar and minnow, dropping minnows on bass's heads. And that's just not what happened. And if you look at it, it tells a story. There's a lot of, including myself, I kind of compare, I've done it in previous videos over the last few years. I've always kind of compared Smith Mountain Lake to a Hartwell or a Murray. Now, I haven't heard Hartwell mentioned as much because we haven't heard that much from bluebacks, okay? We really haven't in this event. There's been one or two guys, but it's been about gizzard shad, right? And so we haven't really seen that dynamic play out with forward-facing sonar. I mean, at all in the qualifying round. There were a couple guys, but those guys who everyone thought were going to dominate with forward-facing sonar, they're on their way home. I mean, quite a few of them are on their way home, okay? And so that's what I think is great about heavy hitters, is because it resets everything. If you're not familiar with heavy hitters is MLF's Bass Pro Tour event once a year where they take the best 5 fish for the Bass Pro Tour anglers, or it might be the best from every event. I think, and I think they're Redcrest excluded, I think. And they get their limit, and then 30 anglers get to participate in heavy hitters, okay? Now, these 30 anglers are participating in heavy hitters this year on Smith Mountain Lake. A significant number, like more than half the field, obviously. There were some guys like Crochet, who's not fishing the Bass Pro Tour this year. Matt Steffen, who's not fishing the Bass Pro Tour this year, which is crazy. Okay. They're in the event because they fished BBT last year. Okay. But almost 3/4 of the field have fished Murray this year, right? And last year. Okay. Or 23, I'm sorry. 23 and 25. So we've got a kind of sample bag, and JT and all the guys are talking Murray. We've heard Murray a lot more than Hartwell, okay, this week. So that, and again, I throw them both out because you've got that Virginia DWR's been stocking forage like blueback for decades, okay, over a decade in there. So you've got that element that's more like Hartwell for me. For me, you've got more of the arms and the creeks and all that stuff that's more like Hartwell for me. If you look at the lakes on a map, it doesn't look as much like Murray. Murray looks more like Anna, like Lake Anna, if you're from the Mid-Atlantic. Okay, the Hartwell and Smith Mountain Lake. Okay, that was to me how that was going to play out. Didn't play out that way with forward-facing sonar. And again, this is on the backdrop of what can easily be characterized if you're not spinning. Okay, if you have an interest in spinning, then of course you're going to spin the Sabine River for Bassmaster event into being whatever you want it to be. Okay, and I'm not taking anything away. That was a grind, and sometimes those events are cool, like, you know what I mean. But right on the cusp of, or heels of Sabine, we've got heavy hitters, and we got massive bags, and we've got massive bags not with forward-facing sonar. Okay. So then you've got the MLF, who had been allowing forward-facing sonar in one period in their Bass Pro Tour events this year, right? Angler could choose one of the 3 periods. They could use forward-facing sonar. Heavy hitters, they all can use forward-facing sonar all day long on their Rangers and Nitros. Okay, they're all in stock boats. Okay, so they don't have their live scope. And that could be part of it. That certainly could be part of it. Okay, that they don't have their own equipment, which in screens and stuff, and that could be why a lot of guys didn't go into forward-facing sonar day 1, day 2, day 1 of Group A, day 1 of Group B. They went shallow. Okay, and that's where you got to be, Smith Mountain Lake, this time of year. There is tons of docks, tons in these creeks, okay? And if you're going up the Roanoke River, where Michael Neal went on day 1 throwing the spinnerbait, okay? Just banging out spinnerbait all day long, okay? Other guys throwing topwater, okay? Chatterbaits. We're going to talk about the Evergreen release for the Baby Jack coming up. We're going to go through a couple of those really quick here. We've got the Baby Jack giveaway today. Like, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate everybody who has supported this channel the last 2 years. We keep growing. We surpassed 25,500, I guess, like a week or so ago, 7 or 10 days ago. It's freaking awesome. The inquiries keep coming in. The business stuff keeps coming in. I got an interesting story I want to tell about the business side, or kind of the business side, from being on YouTube, which is kind of funny, but awesome at the same time. I'm going to get into that. But Steve Ellis, if you see this video, I'm going to go ahead and send you the email today. You were the winner of the weekend, the preview MLF preview live stream, okay, for heavy hitters. We went over the anglers and we talked about how it was going to set up, and we were right on some things and we were absolutely wrong on other things. And that's fishing. That's what happens. But you got yourself the duo, kind of like the Spider-Man collector edition, spy baiting, spin bait, spin 80G flex, and Baitcaster Pro Tune, and the spinning model. So whether you're throwing that Baitmaster, or you got them. You got them both. I'm going to ship them out to you. I'm going to send you that email today, or you can email me directly if you get this before I get the email to you. you can go ahead and shoot me that email with your address, and I will drop these in the mail for you. Congratulations. Enjoy that. Or hang them up on your wall because they are collectible. Okay? Like I said, I think there's one more. This is the regular Spider-Man, and this was the white version. I think there's a black version too. I'll kind of check that out, see if I can't locate that too. Collectibles are cool. Doesn't all have to be Mega Bass, okay? If you're collecting, pretty cool. But real quick, big shout out. This has been a great weekend. It's been a great week. I love, again, this is my favorite professional bass fishing event. I know I caught a lot of noise on Friday when I said that. Like, people were like, "You're crazy." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm crazy." But one, it's in my backyard. Okay, this one. And two, it's just an awesome format. It is an awesome format. This is what I think they should do for the Classic, okay, is back to the 70s where they didn't know they were going. Tell the guys they're going 10 days ahead of time where they're going. Bring that shit back, Bass. Bring that shit back, and maybe you're going to get more people back to following Bassmaster, okay? A lot more that you lost, okay? Do some cool things. This is a cool format. Guys aren't fishing out of their own boats. They're fishing out of 21-foot Nitro Z21s, and they're fishing out of Ranger boats. They've all got Lowrance, the 12.1, I think, screen, active target. They all got that, and they got the trolling and all that stuff, right? So it's not their boat. So that creates a little bit of uncertainty and uncomfort. I like that because you know what they say. Your mom always told you the cream rises to the top. Like when you provide adversity, okay? And so there are kind of going to be some little things taken away from this event about forward-facing sonar because some of the guys did not excel. And it could be because maybe they were Garmin guys, right? And they weren't used to using Lowrance. Like, I don't know. I mean, but that's going to be interesting to get feedback from the anglers once this event is over. Because it just didn't play. It really didn't. And so when you look at that, it's kind of awesome to see that, you know what? You don't have to freaking drop a jig minnow on a bass's head to compete in events. That narrative is tired and old, okay? Because events are suddenly showing up like this that are showing that when you give the angler the option where he can utilize forward-facing sonar or not, give the angler the option. And in this event, the option has been shallow, spinnerbait, chatterbait, top water, drop shot around docks. It's been all that. It has not been forward. That's not to say that some of the guys have not caught significant bass, right? But here's the thing, guys. This style of event mitigates a lot of the complaints that people have. And what I mean by that is you don't want to stare at a guy trying to target a bass on a bed for 3 hours straight. You don't want to watch a guy staring at a screen, dropping a minnow, dropping a Crush City Rapala freaking minnow with a jig head, a Gamakatsu Horizon head, a smelt head from Nishin, or, whatever you want, because he sees how big the fish are and he spends so much time because it's a limit event. His 5 best, right? His bag. This is an MLF style catch 'em all event over 2 pounds. So you can't be wasting time hour on end unless you're out of the mix. And what I mean by that is if you're not going to qualify for the knockout round, which began today, right now we are in period 2 of the knockout round. If you weren't going to qualify for the knockout round, then you can make that call to go and freaking target big-ass largemouth to get that big bass. Because remember, each day pays out a big bass, and it gets bigger and bigger each day as the event goes on. So today you've got 16 anglers in the knockout round, 8 from Group A, 8 from Group B, and it's going to be reduced today to 10. So if you're sitting in that, come period 3, if you're sitting in that, 10 to 16, 11 to 16, you're going to make a decision, depending on what that gap is. Right now, Zach Burge is at 31 pounds, 31.6. Lucas at 31. Stefan, 30. Okay, remember, these weights reset. Okay, these are reset weights today, guys. Okay, Evers, 24 pounds. Floyd, 19 pounds. Keith Boucher, 14. Gill, 14. Sprague, 14. Neal, 13. That's a significant drop-off for Michael Neal from his previous 2 days, or really his first day. We're gonna get into Michael Neal, Justin Lucas strategy here in a second. DC in 10th place right now with 13. So what is that? 17 and a half pounds is the difference between first and 10th right now. So when they flip the screen, we're going to see where it is from 11 to 16. Okay? So if you're 14, 15, 16th, and you're 20 plus pounds behind the cut line, you're going to go big dog hunting, right? Like you want to get the big, because you're not going to make it to the championship round, right? You got to understand what's happening. This is a brand new lake, okay? If you're watching this, I would pull it up, but I've got rain here right now, and I know it would lock up by putting MLF Live on a split screen for you guys. I apologize about that. I got it on my other computer. I'm watching it right now, live, MLF Now. And you just have to understand it's a brand new lake because the weather's completely different today, guys. It's 60 degrees. Fog in the morning. Okay, 60 degrees. It's only going to get 75. We were in the 80s last week. Okay, was no overcast, no real cloud except for end of the practices and then one of those mornings, and it cleared up pretty quickly. Okay, it's basically overcast till 3 o'clock today, all day long. All right, so how does that play out? The wind today is much better than what it's going to be tomorrow for the championship. Tomorrow, they run the risk tomorrow because this is Smith Mountain Lake. This is what happens. It builds, okay? So today you got like 6 to 10 mile an hour winds. Tomorrow, there could be wind gusts to 40 miles an hour on Smith Mountain Lake in the championship. That's going to throw another wrinkle into it, right? And so you got all this stuff going on, but the guys are, you're not looking for shade today like day one, okay? Because it's all overcast, all right? It's completely overcast. So it's all shaded, right? And so that mitigates some things, right? In terms of figuring it out. So you've got guys like Evers and some of the other guys that are basically targeting the docks, okay? The docks and the arms, okay? You basically had a river fest in the qualifying round because you've got Roanoke River, Mike Neal, Crochet, they went up the river on day one, right? Group A, day one. Slammed them, okay? Some guys went to Blackwater, like B26, Bowie 26 towards Blackwater. There's docks, all that stuff up Blackwater River, which is the western side of Smith Mountain Lake, okay, where it comes into Smith Mountain Lake. Guys went up there, okay, on the weekend, right? He didn't stay Main Lake. He didn't stay, well, they stayed close, but like different pockets from Hales Bridge, right? So they stayed in around that main, but they weren't like using forward-facing sonar. Again, could be a product of the fact that they're not used to the technology that they had on their boat because it's a different brand. The screens are very small. There's 2 screens, obviously, 12 inchers, I think. So, I mean, there's a lot of number of reasons why forward-facing sonar may not have played in this event. But I think that the timing of it was just awesome because of what we saw on Sabine River and how what a just grind that was in terms of catches for bass. And they're going to take a lot of criticism for that, for scheduling that. I mean, I've said this before. If you're scheduling events in Texas, why are you scheduling that river? That river's not producing bags. Like, and the only thought process that a lot of people had that I didn't really consider was they scheduled it really to try and tap down the forward-facing sonar noise by having an event that the forward-facing sonar probably wouldn't really come into play, and to have that on the schedule. But still, you're talking about Texas. I mean, guys in Texas don't even fish that river. I mean, why would they? Like, they've got probably like top 8 of the 25 top lakes in the country are probably in Texas. Guys just don't go fish there. So you've got a low catch. I think it was like a 20. 30 pounds, something like that event, like 10 pounds a day, 10 to 14 pounds a day, versus what we saw day one, Group A and Group B with guys dropping 75 pounds on the board. Okay. With a 2 pound minimum. Okay. Not an inch minimum, a 2 pound minimum. Okay. And then it's going to kick up. I think it goes to 3 pounds tomorrow in the championship round. So that to me, just like I said before, it's my favorite event because of all the changes that it makes an adaptable angler have to overcome. New boat, new electronics, launching from 5 different locations, having that an option. So you're not basically told where you have to launch from, which eliminates a lot of stuff. And when you tell a guy he can launch from 5 different spots, the mind gets rolling, right? And so you're seeing guys that are really just so skilled at breaking lakes down. Remember, 90% of this field had never fished Smith Mountain Lake before, ever. Okay? Ever. And yes, they had practice, but I'm just saying, it's a massive lake. Okay? And so one of the things you heard about Smith Mountain Lake, before I get that, big shout out, by the way, to some of the sponsors of the channel, some of the sponsors of, they've really been supportive the last 2 years. Power Queen Battery, you can use that QR code that's right there on the screen. Take advantage of the pre-tariff sale. Message me. I'm going to put my email in, as I always do. If you have any questions about Power Queen batteries or you need a discount code or those stuff, you should be able to use that QR code right here on the screen if you're at home watching on TV. At some point, you watch the replay. On your phone, I think it might be a little bit harder on the phone with YouTube. I'm not really sure, but you could just message me and I'll get you the latest deal and the latest code link for the best pricing. Okay, for your Power Queen. Even if you're looking for an awesome high quality lithium 12 volt 100 amp hour backup battery, the value to quality ratio is freaking off the chart. Secondly, I want to thank Rugged Road signing on board again. Appreciate all the folks at Rugged Road Outdoors. Really, really look forward to working with you guys, continue working with you guys into next year with the new coolers coming out. There's a lot of stuff coming. It's going to be awesome. The new releases with that. And it's just awesome to see a lot of the unique aspects of all this stuff kind of come together. But Smith Mountain Lake, okay, you have heard it, all right? You're going to hear it. I think I just heard it during end of period 1 where they talked about Lake Murray. And it sometimes when we throw these similarities out, there is some truth to them. But at the end of the day, all these places set up very different, like depending on, hot mountain reservoir, wind, the weather, the number of docks on Smith Mountain Lake, and then the boat traffic on Smith Mountain Lake far and away exceeds Murray. Okay. You got a little taste of that on Saturday and Sunday. Okay. That's not even normal for Smith Mountain Lake. Okay. Because we still haven't got out of graduation yet. You've got colleges that have graduations coming up. You've got high schoolers finishing up in the next 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. It's when after that, Memorial Day is coming up for sure this weekend. But and that's usually when you see it start to, and then once all the high schools get out and then once all the colleges graduate, it's packed. Okay. But you got a taste of how difficult it may be for guys to actually fish forward-facing sonar in lakes on the weekends because of the amount of wake that gets created and through all these pleasure boats running through the channel. Okay? It can be crazy. And if you're between that lane and a point, okay, that is freaking crazy. Okay? You're not going to stay on it. Okay? And so that presents a challenge. But now that we're in midweek, okay, we saw this on Monday. Virtually nobody on the lake, right? And we're still watching today where it's like it's midweek, man. People are at work. People are at school. People are at work. And so they pretty much got the lake to themselves, okay? But you still got to deal with the wind, and you still got to deal with that. So stage 3 event on Murray. if you look at the top 12 guys, 12 to 15 guys on Murray, okay, a bunch of them did not make the knockout round. Okay, and one was one of my fantasy picks, Matt Becker. Matt Becker did not make the knockout round, right? That surprised me because Matt has been pretty good at Murray, pretty good at these places that were very, very similar to Smith Mountain Lake, but Matt's never fished Smith Mountain Lake before. But this dynamic doesn't always work, okay? Because Martin Villa is from Virginia, Bass Pro Tour, fished Smith Mountain Lake numerous times, right? Probably fished it more than anybody in this event. He didn't make the knockout round. A lot of people picked him to win the event, okay? As crazy as that sounds. Now, last week didn't sound so crazy, okay? Because, he's got the most experience. He's done well. He's from Virginia, He didn't make the knockout round, okay? And he finished 49th at Murray, okay? So if you look at where some of these guys finished at Lake Murray, stage 3, when they talk about this comparison between Smith Mountain Lake and Lake Murray, the only guys that have now made the knockout round who finished in the top were Drew Gill is in the knockout round, MD, Mark Daniels Jr., Jeff Sprague, okay, from the stage 3 event at Lake Murray, okay? And you got Lucas. Lucas finished 13th at Lake Murray, and he obviously slayed them on day 1. But Jacob Wheeler didn't make the knockout round. Marshall Robinson, who I thought would do really, really well here if forward-facing sonar was it, and it wasn't. That surprised me because I thought a lot more guys, and this, again, is the bias that we all have, okay, as fans and anglers ourselves. As someone who fishes for smallmouth predominantly and love it, I was thinking quite a few more of the guys would have been targeting smallmouth. But I understand Smith Mountain Lake, the smallmouth population is only 15% of the overall bass population in that entire lake. It's down on the lower lake near the dam, up in Craddock Creek, Twitcher, English Retreat, maybe towards Arrowwood to below the dam, in that portion. That's basically it. But you can get on some really, really big, and there were some 6-pound smallmouth taken this year, okay? You can get on some really big smallmouth. And I personally thought that would be in play in that area with forward-facing sonar. And then maybe guys didn't have cameras, could be it. We just didn't see a lot of it. There were a couple guys who caught smallies, but guys made the decision based on the shad spawn to go largemouth, in my opinion. And I think that's what it's going to pan out in the end. I just think that over the weekend, that's what they decided to do, and that's what made forward-facing sonar a lot less of a player. And you could see the guys that you would have thought would have been able to, to nail them with forward-facing sonar didn't make the cut, guys. Didn't make knockout round. Wheeler, Robinson, Becker, Brett Ayler, okay? He had a lot of camera in his boat. He had a lot of coverage. Didn't make the Alton Jones Jr. didn't make the knockout round, okay? And so it's very, very interesting to see that. Now, there were some other guys that obviously, where did some of these guys that made the knockout round finished way, way back in the middle of the pack on Lake Murray, okay? Dustin Connell finished 36th on Murray, okay? He's in the knockout round. Edwin Evers finished 41st. He's in the knockout round. Although Edwin fished back here with Bassmaster Elite Series, I think back in 08 and 2010. Keith Poche finished 43rd, okay? Did better at Smith Mountain Lake, okay? Mike O'Neill finished 44th, okay? So Poche is in the knockout. Neal is in the knockout, finished 44th on Lake Murray. Martin Villa finished 49th. He did not make the knockout round. Fred Rambanis was 33rd at Lake Murray, and he's in the knockout round. Okay? Justin Lucas, I talked about before, finished 13th. He's in the knockout round. Obviously, Dave Lefebvre, 32nd. He didn't make it. And then Nick LeBron was, I think he finished in 2023 really well at Lake Murray. But even back in 2023 on Murray, Neal finished 27th, Lefebvre 24th, Pouchet 22nd, Evers 17th. Okay, so when people were saying like, oh, it's just a lot like Lake Murray, what we're finding out is it may not be like Lake Murray, right? Because the guys that did not do well at Lake Murray, did not finish, in the top 20 or top 30 on Lake Murray are now in the knockout round for heavy hitters. So I think that's a testament to these guys' adaptability. It also could be a testament to scheduling, okay? Because down at Lake Murray, stage 3, no shad spawn, right? Now we're in May, there's a shad spawn on Smith Mountain Lake. So that could play to a lot of these guys' strengths, being able to target the shad spawn with a spinnerbait, and that stuff, which is crazy, just crazy. I did not see that coming. Okay, did not see that coming. I did not have Michael Neal in my five top picks for Smith Mountain Lake. That completely was crazy. It did have Justin Lucas, so that was like no surprise. And then one of my only five anglers who did not make was Matt Becker. But still, as it goes now, yeah. So you're looking at 11th place right now has 12 pounds. 10th place has 13. So there's going to be a battle for that 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th are all like in that 13 to 16 pound. And we're an hour and 50 minutes left in the second period. So there's going to be a battle at that 8, 9, 10 spot. I think the top 3 or 4 are going to go away with it. Okay. Just like we saw at day 1, Group A and Group B, and then day 2. Now, the interesting thing is strategy here that always comes into play on these long events, these multi-day events like this. You got to remember, this event had 2 days Group A, 2 days Group B, a day of knockout, and a championship. 6 days that they're on this lake. I personally believe, and I was interesting to see what the strategy is going to be today, that I thought Justin Lucas and Michael Neal on day 2, on their day 2s, kind of laid down. I think they went hunting, they went searching, hunting, and for big fish or whatever. I don't think that they were playing to the same area spots that they did in their day 1, where they freaking absolutely lit it up. And I think they're trying to play the long game in terms of their spots, especially Michael Neal on the Roanoke River, because things can change pretty quickly. It is raining. It is raining and raining again. And that all the rivers have been flooded. Were flooded going into this event all around Virginia, the DMV, District of Maryland, or Virginia. All of them, from the upper Potomac River all the way down to the Stanton, all the way to the New, all the way to the James River, okay, all the way to Richmond, okay, and every river in between. Maury, Rapidan, Ravenna, Rappahannock, all above, way, way above, 8 feet, 9 feet, 10 feet above normal, okay? And we're going to get more rain, okay? And so we're going to see this is going to go back up. The Roanoke is going to go back up. That may change things, okay, come tomorrow or even during the day today. So, I mean, that's when you have a 6-day event, that weather becomes a major, major element. And so, pull this up. Oh, wow. Cool. And so you got that strategy to play out. Like you don't want to burn all your fish up, right, over the weekend. And so I think those two guys are in the best position, even though let me get an update here on Oh, they're running their break real quick. I'll get an update on Lucas is still up towards the top. Neil is a lot towards, closer towards the middle of the pack or below. He was below the cut for a little while. And so we'll see how that plays out. I mean, he's rolling that spinner bait. And I think a couple of the guys were rolling that I saw a little while ago in the first period were rolling the chatterbait, which gives us a great segue because Evergreen, because you're not familiar with Evergreen JDM, and Z-Man in the States, I guess, has released their Baby Jack, okay, their Baby Jack chatterbait. So that is today's giveaway. Today's giveaway is a Brett Height quarter ounce Baby Jackhammer. Okay, most of these are probably hitting your stores, have been hitting your stores for the last couple of weeks, definitely within the last month. So the Baby Jackhammer, really going to be interesting. I love this size, like I really do, and I'm going to show you a different comparison. Okay, you may prefer it or you may not, but I would give it a shot because it absolutely catches fish. But let's talk about that setup right now. Let's talk about the jackhammers, okay? So I have pretty much gotten, I don't think I have all of them, but pretty much got probably 75% of them. And we can look at them right now. Obviously, the first one I had in my hand was the color number one white. Okay, color number one white in the Baby Jackhammer. Okay, number one is white. Okay, try and get these in order of the colors I got. Number two is the chartreuse white. Chartreuse white. There you go. Chartreuse white. Number three, and these are all quarter ounce, guys, is the Clearwater Shad. Clearwater Shad. I'm going to hold on to this one because I got a little something I want to show to you. The pairs really great with that. Okay. 7. I got number 7. 7 is obviously, if you're in the Mid-Atlantic and you're fishing the DMB, green pumpkin. Okay, number 7, green pumpkin. All right, green pumpkin. Did I show the chartreuse white? I don't think I did. Chartreuse white, which was number 4. No, I'm sorry, number 2. I don't know if I skipped the chartreuse white or not, but chartreuse white. Okay. Number 13, a staple in the Mid-Atlantic DMV region, Susquehanna River, James River, a lot of the river, Ohio, Little Miami, Great Miami, anything that's got like shiner forage in it is the number 13 Golden Shiner Jackhammer. Golden Shiner Jackhammer. Okay. I'm going to hold on to that one as well. Okay. Chartreuse white. I don't have any white trailers on that. Green pumpkin we covered. Last but not least, for all the Smallie chasers, Smallie Magic. Okay. Smallie Magic. All right. So these are quarter ounces, right? And so as far as like chatterbaits go, half ounce is probably, if you look at the SKUs, if you follow Fishing Tackler, if you follow any of the industry trades, you know the half ounce is the bigger seller, right? Half ounce has been historically the better seller for Z-Man and for Evergreen for the jackhammers. Okay. And here is a half ounce right here in the green pumpkin shad. And of course, Smallie Magic. Okay. Cannot go wrong. My shiners are already in my box for the next trip up. But those three, a regular green pumpkin for you smaller guys, regular green pumpkin in our river systems, Smallie Magic, smallmouth magic, and green pumpkin shad. The green pumpkin shad is probably the most effective of all of them on our inland lakes that have smallmouth, like a Jefferson Randolph, okay, in Maryland, a Lake Mooall in Virginia, okay? Yes, Smith Mountain Lake, Okay. So either a Smallie Magic or that green pumpkin shad. Okay. Now, those are the baby jackhammers. Remember, like and subscribe to the channel. If you're interested in any of those jackhammers, if you can't find those jackhammers, shoot me an email. Okay. I literally have about 5 of each. Okay. If you cannot locate them. Okay. Mine comes straight from Japan. Okay. So I don't really have to deal with that aspect. Thankfully for Evergreen. In terms of retail, I know it can be crazy to find some of these sometimes. And online they sell out pretty quickly. One of the other ones that's out there I do not have yet, but I will do the video as soon as they come in because I am going to do some side-by-sides, okay? Because I love this size, okay? I'm going to get into one of my favorites. I'm going to show you now one of my new favorites. But the mini copperhead from First Gen Fishing. You guys know First Gen, P-line. Love P-lines, a line I use. 90% of the time is P-line. Either P-line topwater, P-line tactical fluorocarbon, or I've actually gotten into a little bit using some of their trout line for some smallies. So when I'm using my light rod, when you're using a really light spinning tackle, their trout line's phenomenal, okay? But I'm going to do some comparisons between the new mini copperhead that just landed on Tackle Warehouse. I do not have anything to show you today yet, but I should probably in the next 7 to 10 days. That's the mini version of the copperhead that is absolutely crazy sick. A totally different noise, thump noise than your Z-Man chatterbait, Evergreen, jackhammers, any of the Evos, any of that stuff. Crazy killer bait. Hard to find though. Unfortunately, probably at your local tackle shop. I mean, I've been at Bass Pro, 2 Bass Pros, Maryland and Virginia, and have yet to see any. Okay, so that's an issue because it could be a supply issue. It could just be I'm there on the wrong days. But it is what it is. But yeah, so the chatterbait is getting thrown right now at more so than I think it did last week. It's just obviously it's not going away. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, you got to remember that chatterbait was like taking all the oxygen out of the room until forward-facing sonar came, right? Everything in fishing moves like that, right? And so for a long time, it was chatterbait, chatterbait, chatterbait. And then it shifted, I mean, everybody talks about how like nobody buys crankbaits or the crankbait industry is crazy and it's losing sales. It's, business is going out, because of forward-facing sonar and all the jig head minnows and all that. Everyone's buying soft plastic minnows, Crush City, all that 6 Sense, all that stuff, right? In reality, that started with chatterbaits. It did not start with the minnows. Minnows have been around forever, okay? It did not start with forward-facing sonar. It just compounded it. It started with chatterbaits. Chatterbaits actually were the first technique that impacted crankbaits, okay? I don't believe it impacted jerkbaits, hardly at all, because, but in a lot of conditions where you can throw a crankbait, you can also throw the chatterbait, right? So I think that was more of an impact. And then forward-facing sonar came along, and obviously they took all the oxygen out of the room, and everybody was talking about that, and ICAST, and Jacob Wheeler, DC, Mark Daniel, all the stuff. It just blew up, and everybody's running to the store to get minnows, okay? Kudos to Rapala, right? They timed it perfect, to capture that market. But I like the quarter size. And so before, most of us were custom doing them. Okay, you can check out Humble Hook Tackle Company. You can message me, custom bait maker, doing custom stuff in the smaller format for smallmouth, okay? Just like a chatterbait, okay? But in 3/16, okay? In smaller sizes, right? So finesse chatterbait fishing, right? Kind of crazy. Doesn't make any sense. I know it doesn't make any sense. But it actually freaking is effective. And so you want to check out these. These are 3/16 ounce. Quarter ounce as well. Okay, they get quarter ounce. And 3/16. This is H. Okay, H and H. right? So HH Custom Baits from Pennsylvania. Wide Awake, smallmouth mecca, okay? Shenandoah River, Allegheny River, Clarendon River, Juniata River, Upper Potomac River, the Yaak, okay? All these places hold smallmouth, okay? And a lot of times you're going to struggle throwing 4-inch, 5-inch swim bait, 6-inch. It's not their jam. A lot of that happens at Smith Mountain Lake in these creeks, okay? Craddock, places like that, where the forage species doesn't typically get larger than 3.375, okay, or 4 inches. Now, it did a year or two ago where they were crazy, like 4.5s, okay? But the shads are normally 3.5, 3.25 top end, okay? So this right here is the shiner, okay? Remember I talked about the shiner, okay? Dominant forage species, Pennsylvania, Susquehanna River, okay? So jackhammers run you like $15, okay? You know, I usually get them out to the guys for $10, but $15, okay, is the norm. $15.99. Sometimes I've seen them $18.99. I mean, maybe the babies will be a little cheaper. I don't know. Probably not because of the demand. And so you can play that value game going with HH Custom Baits. They actually freaking slay them. And it's a micro blade on a finesse. Okay. So you're adding a blade to those finesse jigs. And I'm going to break all these down in a video. Because I just think they're freaking incredible. Okay. For what they are. If you like to finesse jig fish, but you want that, you don't want to go to a 1/2 ounce chatterbait because it's just not, maybe you're in shallow water, maybe you're, all those things come up. But another thing from HH Custom that I'm utilizing for my planning, along with the baby chatters, is the trailers. Okay. Really, really love these trailers. This is a purple smoke shad. Okay. A purple smoke shad. All right. Okay. So you're looking at, something like a clear water shad. Okay. Clear water shad with an awesome trailer on that. Okay. Perfect. So this is what you want to maximize. Is you want to maximize the fact that I can throw this on a horizon head and have, okay, on a horizon head. Okay. I can throw it on a smelt head. I can throw it on California. I can throw it on, your regular jig. I can put this with any kind of Ned rig. I can do whatever I want, however you want to rig that, whatever your poison is. Okay, that's the versatility in these. These are 3-inch fantail minnows, HH Custom. That is your purple smoke shad, which is pretty much just lights out on our lakes, okay, that have Lake Anna, Hunting Run, Smith Mountain Lake, that have that forage population, okay? The other one is natural shad, okay? Natural shad, which does not have that like purple. It has more of like that dark black, okay? More like a natural shad, okay? Laminates, okay? And you can put this on virtually any of these. You can put it, obviously, if you want to put it on the Clearwater shad, you can. Okay, I just like the purple for the Clearwater shad. Okay. And so, like I was talking about the shiner, okay, and then this one is the killer gill. So you got bluegill forage, right? Smith Mountain Lake's got a ton of bluegill forage, okay? You got bluegill forage. So when you're looking for that trailer, you want to go like to that, flashy gill. This is the flashy gill, okay? But you can go to like green pumpkin. You can go to a darker shade that matches that bluegill pattern, okay? I love the fact the glitter that's in this flashy gill. It is flashy gill. Okay, when you see this in clearer water, that sunlight reflects really, really good. You know, when you have that clear water and you can see, it's just really, really great. And there's multiple coloration patterns for the micro jigs. These are just the ones I wanted to pull out today for this video. I'm going to break them all down in another video, like I said, and we'll do some promos. And then purple, blue, electric shad, okay? Electric shad. So when you really, really want that. So we had purple smoke shad, and now we've got the electric shad, which has got a lot of glitter in the belly, okay? Another great one. So all these fundamentally can be fished so many different ways, which is why I think they're just, you know, essential, so, you know, especially if you're chasing smallies. You know, obviously these are going to work for largemouth. Edwin Evers just moved into first place, by the way, if you're following it. Hour 37 minutes left in period 2. Edwin Evers has 35 pounds. Michael Neal just moved into 10th place ahead of Mark Daniels. And then we've got our green pumpkin purple flash. Okay. Green pumpkin purple flash. So all of these, okay. Smallie magic. Okay. Right? All these on your baby jacks, your regular jackhammers. You know, you probably, you know, I'd say the 3-inch on the baby jacks, maybe on the half ounce. You know, you're gonna go big dog hunting for largemouth. You want to go, you can go 3.5, 3/8, 4 inches, obviously. But on these baby jacks, I think 3s, and then obviously the Cush Ball micro jig, bladed micro jig. Like I said, a little bit more finessey. You know, that's even the thing when you're talking about bladed jigs. But awesome size, great for smallmouth. Largemouth obviously will suck it up too, looking for an easy meal. And that was the electric shad. So there's a bunch of other colors. There's probably 6 or 7 other colors in HH Custom Baits from Pennsylvania. I'm going to do a breakdown video. I'll show them all. It's a little bit easier to do it with a regular camera than it is during the live stream. So you can really you really can see all the glitter and everything that makes these things pop. You know, for sure. Trust me when I say I got a whole box. One of the other brands right now, it's really in effect right now. I'm pretty sure one guy. I think there's one. There might be 2 in the knockout. There were more in the field of 30. Local company to Smith Mountain Lake is Drop Zone Tackle. Okay. And so that Smith Mountain Lake is their home lake. They know what catches there. They know whether it's a shaky head, a rattlehead rattle. You know, for guys targeting those stubborn largemouth, guys that are throwing the Senko, guys that are throwing shaky head, all that good stuff. But then, you know, I'm going to be interested to see and finding out post this event how the Neko rig and the Jika rig played into this. Now, again, like I was saying, now this was the bigger one. This is a half ounce. But if you're targeting smallmouth down by that dam or up in Craddock or up in those creeks, right, you can downsize this, okay, to an 1/8, right? And then, of course, go with the fantail minnow, okay? And so these are the things, or maybe you want to go with a crawl. If you got crawl in your river system, you can go with a crawl. There's so many things you can do with the Jika rig. And they got them in 0 size. This is with a 4/0. They got them with the 3/0 hook and 2/0 hook, I think. You know, so this is a rattling. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but it's a rattling. Okay. It's a rattle rig. Okay. But it's a Jika rig. All right. And very, very popular in Japan. Okay. Crazy effective. And then you've got your 3/8, 3/16, and 1/4 ounce rattle head. Okay. All right. That you can roll with. Again, local to Smith Mountain Lake. So you can pattern that to your lake. Look at the forages, look at the techniques of your particular lake, wherever you are in the country. If they've got gizzard shad, if they got redfin shad, if they got blueback herring, if they got anything like that, they do these like shad spawns and all this stuff, bream, whatever you want to call them, freaking bluegill, sunfish, red deer, all that stuff. You want to check out Drop Zone Tackle, okay? Really good dudes. Really great baits, terminal tackle, not baits, but terminal tackle for you to really bang that out. We'll do a quick update. Let's start with Evers, Lucas, Burge, Stefan, Sprague, Floyd, Connell, Poche, Drew Gill, Michael Neal. Drew Gill, man, is just freaking kind of like one of the guys that just flies below the radar with a lot of people. But he's consistently in the top 20. Great. He's just a great angler. Multi skill set for that cat. He's got 16 pounds. But he's right on that cut line. But there are a couple guys like Shin, Rambana, they're probably out of it at this point. Unless something freaking happens, because they are 20 plus pounds behind. Well, I guess they're not. I guess I shouldn't say that. They're 6 pounds. They're 11 pounds and 6 pounds behind the 10 spot. If you're following online. And they could make that up. They got a period and a half left. They can make it up with a big fish. Catch a 6-pounder. I think big fish was 5. Oh, now it's 5:15. I missed that. It was 5:10. So Evers had it in period 1. Stefan, 5:15. He had an abysmal day 1. Check out his video. He had an abysmal day 1 in his group, and then came back day 2 and just freaking rallied. And made the cut. And now he is up to, see where we're at. 4th place today, 32 pounds. Crazy. And it just goes to tell you, making changes. The lake sets up different each of these days. This lake is not, this does not look like the same lake we saw, okay? Saturday and Sunday. It just doesn't. And so you've got playing to different people's strengths with this overcast. You got a lot of people with moving baits. You got a lot of stuff hitting these bluff walls. There's a lot of rock walls on Smith Mountain Lake. A lot of people don't know that. Because it is up in the mountains, right? It is a highland style reservoir. And so you got guys now that are freaking, because of the overcast, it looks like there was a little bit of rain a little while ago. You got guys throwing the frog. You got guys still throwing spinner baits. I have not seen, I've seen the chatterbait, spinnerbait, frog. I've not really seen the plopper or anything like that on camera. That does not mean it's not being thrown. But, it is what it is when it comes to that. But again, up in the creek arm of the river right there, yeah, that's Floyd, man. Floyd put a whooping on it his last day out. And he's already got 24 pounds sitting in sixth place. All right. So don't forget, like, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to put the Substack newsletter as well. A lot of the baits that I get that come in, I cycle out. I'll release and publish in the newsletter for people. It's a free newsletter. At this point, we've got some things working to go once we get the inventory up for the bait box. We'll be able to send out a monthly bait box to in the premium level for subscribers. It's going to be pretty awesome. We've been working on it for quite some time, but now we're starting to really have, enough to be able to, like, I think we have, we're probably looking to be sending out 50 bait boxes a month. So it's really cool. Where's that, a camera boat, or is that another guy fishing? No, they're not. Close. Not real close. In the same area. But you can subscribe to that in the Substack. It's free, guys. Free newsletter. It comes right to your email. It'll alert you to a lot of stuff. It's really predominantly smallmouth centric. So if you're into smallmouth, you go that. But as far as the baits go, it's pretty multiversatile in terms of largemouth and smallmouth. New bait releases, bait reviews, just pre-spawn, post-spawn, mid-spawn, summer fishing, fall fishing, all that stuff we break, we try to break down with tips and stuff like that. And then a lot of the catches from the guys. A lot of the citation catches from the smallmouth series. Almost 50 citations during last season, during the smallmouth events. It's really cool. But again, big shout out Power Queen, big shout out to Rugged Road, especially, and all the sponsors for the Smallie Chaser River Bassin series. That's on Tourney X. If you fish from a kayak, it's a bunch of events there. The next events for the series is Potomac River, Monocacy, Shenandoah. And then there's a June 7th Bass Nation kayak event for Virginia on the Shenandoah River on June 7th, along with the Smallie Chaser River Bassin event. So busy next 2 weeks. I know we've got rain again today. River's going to go back up probably another 2 feet before it drops back down again. Guys are dealing with the same thing you're watching at Smith Mountain Lake today. Heavy hitters, a lot of overcast, a lot of rain, a lot of moisture. We just got to get through it. We got 2 weeks, a week and a half until the next event. We'll see where that is. We had to cancel the Shenandoah River Smallie event because of the flooding. So we got to hopefully we'll get to June in one piece. But it's going to be really interesting. Hope everybody enjoyed today. Just one period. That's kind of like what we wanted to do, was just do it for like one period. We're in here over an hour. That's long enough. If you stayed in, if you tuned in, or if you're watching the replay, you're still eligible. Again, put Jack in the comments. Doesn't matter where you see this video. It'll all come to me. Like and subscribe to the channel. Share the channel. If you know of anyone who's interested in this kind of content, hey, man, I'm a schmuck on YouTube like everybody else. Just trying to help people catch more fish and introduce themselves to, some brands that maybe you're just not familiar with. I mean, that's really cool. You should check out that Smallie Chaser River Bassin series. There's tons of custom bait makers in there. Tons of regional bait makers, bait makers like J Bros, Thomas Custom Lures, like I said, Drop Zone Tackle. There's just so many hard turn fishing, awesome swim bait, jerk bait, crankbait, Lake Edge Lures, North Carolina. Crazy stuff, man, that you're probably not going to see in all your other feeds. But check them out. You want to check out every single one of them. And then also Rugged Road, our cooler guys, and Savage Gear. God bless them, Savage Gear. Some great inflatable news coming. Working with that and working with the 330. Got some video footage, got all that stuff coming out. You can check that out on YouTube. JL Scott Fishing. Hope everybody enjoys the day. Hope everybody stays dry. Be safe. Again, if you have any questions, need help with anything, locating anything, if you have any questions, go ahead and shoot me a message. Direct email will be in the description of this video, or you can subscribe to the Smallmouth Army newsletter on Substack. That'll be in the description, and you can comment and send messages via that platform as well. Hope everybody has a great day. Justin Lucas just took the lead back from Edwin Evers, Zach Burge in third, Matt Steffen in fourth, Sprague in fifth, Floyd in sixth, Dustin Cannell in seventh, Keith Boucher in eighth, and they just changed it. So I don't know who's in ninth and 10th. But remember, they're cutting to 10 for tomorrow for the championship round. MLF, heavy hitters, Smith Mountain Lake, Virginia. I'll see you guys next time.